Hey guys, Pastor David here from the Union Rescue Mission. The last few weeks we've been talking about barriers that homeless people are dealing with in our local area. We talked about, the Matthew 25 ministry, which is I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink type of ministry. And then we also talked about Thessalonian type of ministry, where if a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat, and how in that gap is where the Union Rescue Mission falls. There's people that are living in our organization right now and are currently using our program that fall in that spectrum of ministry. Some people are walking in our door for the first time, and we're helping them with food, shelter, things like that right now. Other people have been with us a while. We've been able to stabilize some of the issues and some of the barriers that they need to overcome. And now they're at the point where it's like, man, you got to go to work. It's time to go. How that is a transitional concept is what we've been talking about in the last couple of times we've been on here. We've talked about photo IDs and driver's license. We've talked about other barriers, just that get in the homeless people's way to be able to succeed. One thing that I wanted to talk about today was a crisis that we have in our culture right now that is growing pretty rapidly that people aren't aware of. A lot of times people think homeless people are drunks and druggies and they've caused this themselves. One thing that we see is one of the highest populations of growth in the country right now is senior citizens that have never been homeless. And so that is a huge concern for us. And I'm going to talk about the barriers that they face here soon, but I'll explain the problem first. The problem that we're dealing with right now is that inflation has caused all prices to go up. Not only has inflation caused prices to go up, minimum wage has gone up. So right now in the state of Maryland, for example, minimum wage is $15 an hour. That sounds great. We want everybody to have a livable wage. It sounds like a good plan. It sounds like a great concept. But once we get to the heart of the issue, $15 minimum wage allows people making $15 to pay more for products, more for rent. And the people who are not making more are people who are on fixed incomes. So what we see now here in Cumberland since 2020, since before COVID, rents were running about $450 on average a month. That's what we could get people in that were leaving our organization. We could get them into rent somewhere in there, $450 to $550 a month. Right now in the same city with the same housing, those same rents now we're running $750 to $850 a month. And so what we have is minimum wage has gone up, which has allowed people to afford more apartments for themselves at a higher price. However, the properties haven't changed. They're still the same properties. The landlords are just getting more of the money out of it now. And not only that, but the people that are on fixed income are getting pushed out of those things. So take, for example, we have people come through that are senior citizens all the time, and they're making about $1,200 a month on Social Security or something along those lines. Very, very low income, but they could sustain it. When rent was $450, they could sustain that. They could manage life. They could eat. They could pay their electric bill. Wasn't living out, in any type of crazy lifestyle, but they were able to afford all their bills. Now we fast forward to those same people are making the same amount, $1,200 a month. However, rent now is $750 to $850 a month. That drastically changes what these guys can do as far as utilities and other helps. So what's been happening is senior citizens, for the first time, although they've been able to not be homeless their entire life, for the first time are becoming homeless, and it's becoming an issue for people who are on fixed incomes because of the rate of the inflation for groceries and everyday items, electric bills, and then also the price of rent has gone through the roof in Cumberland. So both of those things are making it to where people can't afford to live. And so they're coming in here as 70-year-old, first time being homeless and needing help. And so what does the Union Rescue Mission do? Our normal program would be to get somebody in the door. We teach them the skills they need to survive. We get them a job, we get them connected with more income coming in, and then we get them out on their feet. However, that doesn't work for the population of senior citizens for the most part. Sometimes we can get them jobs or part-time jobs, but for the most part, we have to figure out how to get them into low-income housing, something that's a manageable, a high-rise, some type of assisted type of living, and it takes time. So right now, one of the biggest barriers in our area is affordable housing. there's a lot of housing. There's just not a lot of affordable housing for people who are on fixed incomes. And all these people who are on fixed incomes are getting pushed out of their current houses. And there's not enough low income housing to kind of capture the people that we're seeing coming in on fixed incomes. So it's a huge issue. It's not just an Allegheny County issue. It's a United States issue. This is a huge thing with the rate of inflation and the cost of everything going up. It's an issue nationwide. So, but one of the barriers we have in this town, like I said, is low income housing. People on fixed incomes. Where can they live? How can they survive? How are they going to function? And ultimately, when they can't figure out how to make ends meet, or they can't figure out how to get into a program, or the program that they applied for has an 8-month waiting list, what are they going to do? Well, they come to the Union Rescue Mission and we help them, and we just give them some basic stuff to do around here to feel part of the family, normal housekeeping items, cleaning, maybe helping us check people in and out, some basic stuff to keep them busy. But ultimately, we have to change our plan of action from going into Matthew 25 and trying to push people into workforce. We had to alter our plan and just help people with the Matthew 25 ministry of feeding people, sheltering them, giving them some basic tasks. And really, we're just waiting for some type of low-income housing to become available, which usually takes us 6 to 8 months to pull that off. So anyway, guys, when you are on a fixed income and everybody's like, oh, tell these guys what, there's no reason to be homeless. There's, pick themselves up by their bootstrap. When we start looking at just pure numbers of $1,200 a month, then $750 of that is going out to rent. And then $200 is an electric bill. Then you throw groceries on top of that. All of a sudden, there's not enough money at the end of the month, right? There's too much a month and not enough money. And so that's where people are landing homeless. So the topic that we just wanted to discuss today, guys, was the increase in senior citizen rate for homelessness. We're seeing it here for the first time. And the lack of affordable housing. In the future, I'll probably pick up this topic again, and we'll talk about issues with early onset dementia and the issues that we face with if they're not qualifying for a nursing home, but yet they're not suitable to pay their own bills. What barriers do we have to overcome, and what do we got to do in those situations? But all these reasons, guys, that we've been talking about are reasons why people are homeless, and it's not just as easy as tell them to get a job and pick themselves up by their bootstraps. There's so many barriers to their success that we have to overcome to help people be successful. So that's why we need donors in the fight. That's why we need people in our corner helping us, because we have to be able to maintain life for people. That means eating, shelter, warmth. We had to be able to maintain that until we can stabilize the barriers that they're facing and overcome some of these barriers. Once we overcome the barriers, these guys move on and are highly successful. But that's what the Union Rescue Mission is here for. It's to stabilize the crisis. It's to put the fire out, and it's to help these guys start thinking long term. So, guys, please consider supporting us, and pray for those senior citizens who are on fixed incomes, who are barely making it or maybe not making it at all and living in homeless shelters in our country today. God bless you guys. Have a great day.